So as I was looking at things, I realized I also want to try Daler-Rowney's acrylic ink, and this is Process Magenta. So let's try that a little bit here. So that's going to be something completely different, and I might need to work on the shape again, like so. But I'm trying not to disturb too much. In fact, let's layer these over because they're already kind of dry. I'm just going to do this and see what happens when it dries. I mean, it's really beautiful right now. And next one, I will do another one, pink one right here. And what I'm going to do is the same thing. So it seems dry. So I'm just going to now layer. So acrylic ink can behave like a watercolor. So that looks nice. And then I want to add some more opacity. And I'm going to go for this, like a peachy color. And this is Portrait Pink by Daler-Rowney, but System 3, so a student grade. Now it's moving in quite nicely here. It's actually creating lovely spread, which I'm really enjoying. So I'm going to just create a shape. So this is very, very beautiful. And of course we have this lovely opacity that we haven't had so far anywhere. And I might repeat it off here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, I've got now a big dollop here. Oh, it wipes out quite well. So I'm going to create a more watery version of that color, and I'm going to mix it with whatever is coming into here, which is really pretty. I love that. So you can see you can just play and play and play and play. Now at this point it'd be good to consider a composition. And for that, you can really just look on top of it, and you can look at the screen if you're filming in my case. But so at this point, it's good to consider a composition. So am I happy with the shape of this painting, or do I want to add some height here? I think I do. And I like both this color, but I also really like what happened here. So I think I'm going to repeat that over here. So I'm going to wet the area first, like so. Make sure it's nicely wet and glossy. That's how you can tell if it's wet or not. And then I'm going to add two colors like I did here. One and two. So let's see what happens. It's pretty stunning. So the areas that I don't like these pinks, to me not working well, so I might do some doodling over it later. But in terms of the composition, I might just add one more small one here, I'm thinking. A tiny one. Now, maybe a bit more rounder. Like so. So that it's not in one line. I want it to come out a bit more. So I might need to make it slightly bigger. So about there. And what I'm going to do now is add the same as I did before, and that will create a visual triangle so that our eyes go both kind of all directions. And then I don't have enough of transparent colors, so what I may do is actually create like a peachy tone by mixing the fuchsia with the burnt sienna. Really no idea what the ratio should be here, so I'm just going to try it out at first and see where we are. So this is nice. I just really want it to be quite pale. Maybe touch more pink. Tiny little bit. Again, somewhere to the side so we don't bring in too much. Oh. There we go. So this is a lovely pink now. So what I'm going to do is just add some transparent colors on top, and it might pull from whatever is underneath. So for example, if it's a watercolor, it will reactivate it and create something interesting here. But I like that play of transparency and opacity. So let's see, I want one more, like a small one here. I just realized I actually have an online course where I teach my kind of abstract art a little bit. I'll try to link an abstract course that I created a while ago. This was like a while ago, you know, maybe even before the pandemic hit. Let's see what happens if I touch it on the side here. It's just so hard to resist because you're so curious what's going to happen. How are the colors going to mix? Or they may not mix. So something here as well, maybe here. So I'm working with smaller shapes at the moment because we already have a lot going on. Okay, so I think one more here and we're done. So that's going to blend in. So that is it. I have nice different levels of opacities and whatnot. Now this color here, transparent oxide, I might just want to like dab it before it's like completely dried up in places. And just dab it in some areas. Because once it dries, it creates this gorgeous, beautiful granulation. That is our beautiful composition, and I'm going to dab some water because I don't like the straight line here, so I'm going to blend it a little bit more. All right, we need to wait for all of this to dry. So these two areas, they're really flooded and I can't do anything about it because I don't want to lift it. I want them to dry naturally to have this beautiful contrast that they have right now. If I lift, obviously we're going to lose that. If I'm going to try and dry underneath, as soon as I leave the page, it all starts to move around. Again, something I don't want. So what I'm going to do is just leave them naturally there to just take however long they need to dry. And I do have some wet areas which I can start working on. And color wise, This is a chartreuse. Now, I really don't know if it's going to work that well. Blue would be a good color, I suppose. Or we could go just completely dark. And I haven't decided. So let me just try and see how this would look. This is where things just can take forever for me to decide the colors. How about this? Just something dark. Yeah, that I like better. Okay, so I will cover up the others. So I'm just going to dot. This also seems to be a lot wetter. And the nib is nice and in good condition. So it doesn't have these kind of weird scratchy bits. It could be just because it's one of the newer colors that I bought, so it didn't have time to be used up as much. So what I'm doing here is just adding little dots into that area where magenta, was it magenta? No, fuchsia. When fuchsia has flown into the other colors. I'm going to also carefully cover up the chartreuse now. That's the beauty about acrylic paint or acrylic markers. You can just do that. You can go as many times as you want over each other until you're satisfied. So if you think it moved in a little bit there as well, I'm just gonna sprinkle these dots around, but mainly on top. So I'm not going to go here where there is no fuchsia, and here as well. Just going to focus on the fuchsia itself. Okay, so that kind of distracts the eye from the color that you might not be too confident with. So I'm just gonna let it dry now. If you see you want to add some dots here and there, then obviously you can carry on.